Mike Ashley has taken the funny car win.
Mike Ashley has begun his celebration. Son Justin there.
Won last year. It doesn't.
Justin Ashley goes 5:23.2, 275 to collect the Wally. And again, just a march down the racetrack. Very little to even complain about on that one.
I think from the first day I jumped in the junior dragster, it was always my dream to race at the highest level. So top fuel was kind of always in my mind. It was something that I always envisioned myself doing, especially growing up around the track and seeing my dad race, and it really inspired me to kind of get to that level. So it was something that was always in the back of my head. I wasn't necessarily always concentrated on doing that. I was concentrated on what I was doing at that time, but it was something that I could definitely picture myself doing later on in the future. The reason I probably started and continued with the dragster was because, you know, initially when I decided to do the racing thing, we thought it was best because the dragster we thought was the safest. We thought it was the safest way to go and it was the easiest way to learn. So we stayed with the dragster. I learned from Frank Hawley at his drag racing school in his top dragster, went with Barry Brown in his top dragster, and just carried that forward.
Ashley beat Bill Kuhlman, the original superstar in Pro Modified, in the first round. Now he'll take on the upstart Eddie Harris, who breaks at the line. But look at what happens to Ashley. He's all the way.
The reason I chose to drive a dragster, not a funny car, or even a door slammer for that matter, is because I had a pretty distinct conversation with my father when I first started racing, in which I said, "Hey Dad, how about a funny car? How about a Pro Mod?" And he told me, "No way, Justin, you're crazy. It's too dangerous. You know, why don't we stick to dragsters? You'll learn better by driving a dragster." And I've stayed with it ever since. I really admire a lot of the guys who race dragsters, whether it be Antron Brown, Tony Schumacher, whoever it is, and I think it's been an important learning tool for me to learn how to race by driving a dragster, and I've stuck with it the entire way. The first time I fired up the Top Fuel dragster was definitely a little bit intimidating for me. I knew, you know, I had the whole weekend really to prepare for it in Norwalk because I was there on Friday, and I didn't warm up the car the first time until Sunday night, but I knew from the minute I warmed it up and the minute I started it on Monday morning that it kind of took me back a little bit, and I was a little bit intimidated, but once they closed the cockpit and it's kind of your turn to be on your own and do your own thing, you know, all those kind of thoughts went away, and I was able to just kind of focus on the task at hand and doing the best job that I could do.
Was you able to get it tightened up?
Yeah. First run I made in the Top Fuel dragster was interesting. I learned so much just from that first run. It took me a while to kind of get used to things just because it took me back. But you know, I learned so much from that first run just by going back and looking at the data and you know, realizing a lot of things that I could do better. To run a 378 really meant a lot to me. I got out of the car at the top end. I really didn't know what it ran. I had no, you know, frame or point of reference, but when they told me it ran a 378, definitely put a smile on my face right away. You know, to me it meant, okay, you know what, I can do this. Once I got out of the car and realized that I ran 378, I was able to really realize that I could take the car from start to finish.
But you see the thing too, on the start line, you gotta start being aware of where your wheel's at and everything. Yeah, what I mean?
My wheel was crooked.
Yeah, it will turn to the right.
Let your hand go to put it on the high side, the wheel goes like that.
That's when I'm doing it. Okay.
You let go, you're always turning it to the right.
Right.
You just gotta do it.
Okay. Now I'm aware of it.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Okay. Think about it, you always gotta make sure straight, everything straight. Everything went straight. When Brian got you to turn that wheel back, you left the line, how much you had to steer it?
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
To be a full-time top fuel driver would be the world to me. You know, I know for a lot of people, there's a lot of people out there who have the same dreams, the same aspirations as I do. You know, but I look at it like any other sport. Anything I do or anything anyone else does, I just want to reach the top, reach the pinnacle of success, and to me that means top fuel. That means, you know, racing in a pro category. So to be able to be a full-time top fuel driver to me would certainly be a dream come true, especially coming from someone with a racing background and having grown up around the sport.
And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't